A voice debate. We can expect the Parliamentary Reference Group, this is reporting back to the PM, to give their recommendations to him in the next couple of days. Now, there's been this debate about whether it's a voice to the Parliament, that's where it started, and now it's looking like it'll be a voice to the Parliament and Executive, with a whole lot of problems that will entail. Bringing in someone now who can help explain the legal complexities here, Legal Affairs contributor at The Australian, Chris Merritt. Chris, that distinction, it started as a voice to a Parliament, now it's becoming a voice to the Parliament, to the Cabinet, to the broader Executive, to the public service. Greg Craven, a very well-regarded constitutional lawyer indeed. He was my professor of advanced con law at Melbourne Uni, so he knows this issue better than anyone. He's pro-voice, doesn't like this model, very concerned about the prospect of legal challenge. He says once you go beyond a voice to the Parliament, include all these other things, this will be in and out of the High Court. What do you think?
He's right. The model's got to change. It's not simply because Greg Craven doesn't like it. He's not Robinson Crusoe on that front. But look at the polling. It was unveiled last July with support of 63%. This week, Newspoll says it's supported by 53%. Now, it's been a steady decline. The more people have a look at this, the more they don't like it. Now, we've got a long way to go before the referendum, and unless there's significant, substantial changes to the model, I suspect we're heading for what I think would be the worst possible outcome, which would be a very, very tight result. One way or the other, it doesn't really matter. The country would be divided, and that would be horrific. Now, the Parliament, this advisory committee to the Prime Minister needs to make some substantial change. And if they don't, I think it's up to the Prime Minister to address it. And here's my wish list. Yes, Ken Wyatt came out a little while ago and said we need a bit more detail so people know what they're talking about, but that's not enough. I think there's two other things that need to go. One, the scope needs to be scaled right back. It's at the moment it can have a say on any law, any public policy. Now that's a deviation from the logical position that when Parliament makes laws for Indigenous people, it should consider their views on those laws. And those laws alone, there's no logic in requiring a race-based group to have a say on laws of general application. So wind back the scope. Now, the second one, and this is really important, is the advice. Who does it go to? Does it go to the Executive? Does it go to the Parliament? Does it go to every decision maker in the public service?
Let me just jump in there. Let me jump in there so people understand at home. We have a judiciary, we have an executive, which is where the PM and ministers sit, and cabinet and those sorts of processes, and then we have the Parliament. They're the three pillars of our system in Australia, and like-minded Westminster-type democracies. You're going to create a situation here where we basically have this body over here, the voice, who can come in underneath the executive, direct to bureaucrats. I mean, that's some of the things that are being talked about. That's a subversion of our system. You can't have parliamentarians. Let's say you're a backbencher for the opposition or a crossbencher. You and I both know, Chris, they can't direct public servants in a way a minister in the executive can. What's going to happen with this voice floating out here?
Look, the way I see it, I think it's a direct attack on the concept of equality of citizenship. Every citizen currently has the same weight when it comes to how this country is governed. What we're talking about is providing additional weight on all matters of governance for a race-based group. And this is not temporary. This is permanent, forever. If it goes into the Constitution, that's it. It'd be completely different if it was a temporary body established by statute. You could then change it once...
But just to pick up your point there, why would an Aboriginal person on this voice have any right to have a say over a law that has general application to all Australians? How is an if we're going to divide the country by race, as Labor wants to do, how is it that an Aboriginal person on the voice is qualified to have a view over a law that might apply to me?
I've yet to hear an explanation for that. I want to hear an explanation for that from those on the working group who are backing this. I think it just doesn't fly. That just doesn't fly.
Chris, thank you. Chris Merritt there. Read him in The Australian. He's written very eloquently on this, and I'm sure he'll keep it up.